meeting, our monthly meeting. I want to welcome everyone and thank everyone for attending. It's great to have a full room. It's nice to see everyone here tonight, and thank you all for coming out. And thanks to everybody online that's watching, and to council and the staff who have worked to make this get everything ready for council tonight. So with that, first item on the agenda is to acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq. And we pay our respects to the Indigenous Mi'kmaq people of this territory, past, present, and future. Second item on the agenda is a declaration of conflict of interest. If anyone around the council table has a conflict of interest in any of the items we're going to be covering here tonight, please declare so now. If not, we'll have a look at the agenda, and if there are any additions, deletions, or changes to the order of the agenda, or changes of any kind to the agenda, I'll entertain a motion to make those changes now. If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda. Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'll move that. Thank you. Second. Thank you. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone against? Motion carried. The minutes of our regular monthly meeting of 11th of June 2025 are in your package. Any addition, and the special council meeting of the unapproved special council meeting minutes of June 25th, 2025. If there are any additions, changes, or deletions or changes to those minutes, please indicate so now, or please make those proposals now. If there are no changes, I'll entertain a motion for approval of those minutes. Thank you. Seconder? Thank you. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone against? Motion carried. Any business arising from the minutes that we won't be covering here tonight? If not, we'll move on to presentations from the floor, and it's always a great pleasure to present the Water School Calendar Winners Awards, and I look forward to this meeting. This is probably my favorite council meeting of the year, so really appreciate the great art that's created by the students in the interests of sustainability and conserving water. So with that, I'll just read you the preamble to our presentation. The town of Stratford has been offering water school since 2011 to grade 5 students in Stratford and surrounding areas. It has now expanded to include Charlottetown and Cornwall. Water school is a full-day, hands-on program that runs for around 2 weeks. The program is all about helping kids learn how important water is, where it comes from, how it moves through our environment, and how we can protect it. Topics include water conservation, watersheds, the water cycle, wetlands, forests, and buffer zones. It's a great way to connect students with nature and help them understand how to protect our water resources. So with that, we'll now proceed to the awards portion of our meeting, and I'll ask the Chair of Sustainability, Councillor Jill Chandler, to help me with the presentations, and I'll ask the Vice Chair of Sustainability, Councillor Gordy Cox, if he would read the names of the individuals who win the awards. That'd be great.
Finally get the mayor's chair. Only took 2 years anyway. I'm going to read these names, but please just let me know the right way to say the names. Yeah, I'm not so worried about the one at a time, more worried about me saying their names correctly. So if I say the name incorrect, just tell me the way I'm supposed to say it, okay? Charlie Roberts, is that right?
Charlie.
Charlie's not here.
And I said that one right, she's not here, okay. Okay, well, great job, Charlie, yeah, for sure. Raphael Nugent. Hey, come on up.
Over here, Gordy. Gordy. Is there-
Oh, very nice on the screen here. Look at that. Look at that second boat needs security there, Steve.
Right over there, and then you can come up and get a picture after I get mine, okay? Thank you. Right here for a minute.
That's a great picture. Like the shadow on the water.
Yep.
Really nice. Wow, very nice.
Solar, no, the solar, no.
For a second there, I thought that was Wood Island Ferry there.
Diesel's X, right?
Or it's on the water, actually. Kaylee Cameron? Yay! Wow, look at that. Look at that great picture. Stevie, look at that one. Fantastic. So far, we got some great artists. There you go. Jody, can you draw like that? I couldn't draw a pogey. All right.
God.
Great job. Nadie Santana? There she is. Wow, another great painting. They're also different, eh? Fabulous stuff. Great message. It only takes one person to make a difference.
Yep.
Natty. Okay, so there I mispronounced something. There you go. So Natty, I'm so sorry about that. Great job, Natty. Very nice. Next we have Lexi Arsenault, and she was our winner for May. Is Lexi here?
Lexi, no.
There is Lexi's artwork. Did a great job. Don't pollute our waters. Keep them healthy,
French and English.
clear and healthy, yeah.
Bilingual.
French and English, very nice. Next we have Henry McDougall. Is Henry here?
I think that's Darren's young fella, isn't it? I think that's Darren's boy, isn't it?
What's that?
Yeah, that's Darren's boy. Henry.
That's a great, keep it clean, that's a great picture also. Okay, our winner for July is Meadow Dunsford. Wow, look at that picture. Teamwork makes the dream work. Remember that. That's a good slogan right there. August, Freya He, is that right? Did I say that right? Well, they could be here, just I didn't pronounce it right. I don't know. I don't think they're here. Okay, our winner, I don't think it's here either for September, is J.C. Butt. And J.C. did a fantastic job. My goodness. Wow. Turn off your tap, save your earth. For October, Nire Varis. Varis? Not here? Okay. Our winner for, what's that? No, everything in nature is connected. For November, Adeline Bernard. Did I say that right? Come on up. Great job, Adeline. Everything in nature is connected, and that is so true. Wow. This artwork. I think we should put them all in the guild downtown tomorrow. They're fantastic. Wow. Yeah. And Jeremy Pierce submitted one, but he was too old, so we didn't put it in
No.
on the board, no. But Jeremy had a really good one too. So hats off to him. Great job. And finally for December, Edison Panez. Panez? Did I say it right?
That's great.
Oh, it's so close. Pinellas. Great job. That's for December. Water creates magic. Certainly does. Wow, look at that one also. Grade 5. You got to remember grade 5 did all these. This is fantastic. Grade 5. My goodness. And so for all those here tonight and those who weren't present, thank you so much. Just fantastic. Wonderful work. Thank you.
Cake this year?
Okay, we're going to have Kate and...
Oh, good.
Yeah, so we have a quick reception for everyone out here before we resume our meeting. Before we start that, I'd like to have all the award winners bring out our award, and we'll get a group picture of the council just out here. And then we've got some cake and treats to keep everybody happy.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
to order. And my report is in your package, Mayor's report. And I just want to go through a couple of highlights of my report. First of all, I want to congratulate staff and the council, Councillor Chandler and Councillor Cox, and all the people involved in the Recreation Department, and all people in all the Infrastructure Department. Everybody worked together, the planning, everyone, finance, everybody worked together to pull off a great Canada Day celebration at our new beautiful Michael Thomas Waterfront Park. I think it's a great credit to everybody involved in that, the success of that venture. And we learned a lot from the experience, but it was, I think, a great way to really showcase our new park. And I know there were a lot of challenges. There were a lot of things that people had to improvise and come up with and think sort of on the spot. But it's a great credit to the professionalism of our staff and to everyone involved that those challenges were overcome. Some of the other highlights, the Mayflower Seniors Club closing event and the yesterday the Seniors College, the PEI Seniors College closing event both took place over the past month, and both are very, very important organizations. The Mayflower Seniors Club provide a lot of social opportunities for seniors in our community. The Seniors College provides learning opportunities for seniors, and it's just two great organizations, and really people that have given so much to our community, to our province, and to our country. Really gives them the opportunity to keep contributing and keep developing their and keep learning. So those were both very meaningful events to me. Yeah, I had a really good meeting in St. John at the Atlantic Mayors Congress. There was to meet mayors from all over Atlantic Canada and discuss some of the common issues that we're dealing with and get some insights into a lot of the things that are working in other municipalities that we may be able to apply here. So great opportunity. And had a meeting with MP Kent McDonald, further, and also accompanying him was a representative of the federal housing minister, which and we're really working hard to further our attempts to get federal funding for our new wellness facility, and it looks hopefully very positive. But until the signed document is in our possession, we can't really say too much. But that does look promising. We had a great meeting and tour of the community campus with MLAs Burridge, Redmond, and Minister of Education Croucher and Bell. I'm not sure what his ministry is. Tourism. Yeah, he was. Yeah, they were all. We talked about the community campus, about the economic benefits, and the new high school, and the junior high, proposed junior high, and it was all very positive. So hopefully, fingers crossed that we're able to, here we are working right now. I'm not sure if it's been completed on the land transfer for the junior high, but if that I know that's in the works. So hopefully that'll take place very soon. Yeah, and I was up in Ottawa for a week for the FCM, along with I guess councillors. Who all was there? There was Councillor Deputy Mayor Gallant, and you weren't there. No, were you at the AGM for the Federation of Canadian Municipalities? No. Okay. Yeah. So it was a great great meeting again. A lot of shared learning and a lot of new information about what's going on in other municipalities all across the country. Yeah, so those are the highlights of my report. Any comments or questions? If not, I'll move on. Item number 8, I'll ask Chief Administrative Officer Jeremy Crosby to give his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. My report is in your package. Just a few of the highlights. Together with the HR coordinator / manager, conducted interviews for the clerk of the Chief Administrative Officer, which is the clerk for me, and I am happy to report that we selected a successful candidate, Neela Smallman, and she's here tonight, and things are working out very well, and very glad to have her as part of the team. Attended a meeting with the mayor and representatives from the provincial government and Town of Cornwall, City of Charlottetown, and the Council of Canadians with Disabilities to discuss accessible taxi service in the 3 communities. And we haven't had any follow-up meetings on that, but we're open to discussions on that for sure. Attended the flag raising ceremony for the Brain Injury Association PEI, well attended. Attended and participated in presentation of the results of the annual survey, and we're reviewing those results and hope to follow up on the information there, and you know, we always like to get the residents' information on the annual survey and include that in how we move forward in the future. I attended a presentation along with other staff on the centralized community calendar, something we're looking at that may be of benefit to our website. We're not sure yet, but there is some new technology out there. And as the mayor mentioned, along with the deputy CAO, we had a meeting with MB Kent McDonald with regard to community campus and other infrastructure projects, and we've had lots of discussions with him since then, and things seem to be moving along well. And also, as the mayor indicated, we did have a meeting with MLAs Jill Burridge, Jen Redmond, Robin Croucher, and Zach Bell to review the community campus project, and we had a tour afterwards. It was a great meeting, and I think there's a greater understanding with those folks now of what we're trying to achieve here in Stratford. And lastly, I chaired the monthly meeting, the staff meeting, and recognized Mary McCaskill on her well-deserved retirement after 23 years. So wish Mary the best of luck in the future. And she was back in to do her timesheet. I was like, what are you doing back here? But anyway, hopefully Mary does come back and visit us from time to time, and she'll be missed. But we're in good hands with Neela. So. Yep. Any questions? I'm here to answer them.
Just Jeremy, just on one and just last, second last paragraph. Director of Finance, Director of Infrastructure, and Deputy held a meeting to discuss reorganization of infrastructure and recreation departments. What is?
Yeah, as part of our plan, when we did the report through KPMG, we've been implementing changes to the infrastructure and recreation departments, and we just had some follow-up meetings with regard to reporting and financial information and timesheets and stuff like that. So just had a meeting to clear up some issues on that.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's not reorganization, there's not reorganizing anything there, just?
Yeah, we did a reorganization.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, there's more people, the recreation people are reporting to Jeremy Pierce now, and it's still the infrastructure department, but we've just, we've fixed up the reporting guidelines and put some other items into implementation as the report indicated.
Okay.
Still business as usual, though.
Yeah.
I just had one question, if I could. In regards to, I know you had mentioned that there was a meeting in regards to the Charlottetown Area Transit Coordinating Committee.
Yep.
I wondered, since our meeting with the provider, has there been any feedback or any follow-up on some of the statistical information that I had asked for?
There has been some conversations on that. In order to get that information, there's some newer technologies that we need to check out. Right now, we're relying really on the ridership with regard to the operators or the bus drivers reporting back, and they also have to operate the bus and take care of a lot of other things. So, in order to achieve the information you're looking for, there is some newer technologies out there that we are investigating. So definitely it's being taken under advisement, but we probably won't be able to provide all the information you're looking for in the immediate future, but we're looking into that for sure.
Okay, I thought that there was mention that there was some existing, that there could be a little more refinement in the data that they can offer.
Absolutely, there is, and they're looking at that, but some of the other items, and we did discuss it, and we had a meeting today, actually, with regard to that. We had a contract meeting, and the provider was there, but in order to get all the information, even, I would say, to completely get accurate ridership with the numbers right now, because the buses do frequently have people transferring to other buses, and they could be double counted sometimes, so we're trying to make sure we clear that up as well, so definitely, it's on the radar for sure.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeremy. Okay, we'll now move to Safety Services. I'll ask the Chair of that committee, Councillor Ron Dowling, to give his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. Safety Services Committee did held its regular monthly meeting on June 16th, 2025. The unapproved minutes have been circulated to council and are part of the package. There's several items, of course, that have arisen from that, but one item I'll make mention of simply because we don't have a streetlight report per se this month, but I was advised by Director Woodard by email in the last couple of days that in relation to a request for additional lights on Newton Lane and Clearview Estates, that was brought up at the committee meeting, and to show how responsive and quickly staff move on those issues, I'm advised that 7 lights have been installed on Newton Lane, and something I didn't mention last month was that there have been additional lighting on John Joe Sark Drive as well, in response to resident complaints about being a little dark at the intersection at Bunbury Road. So, otherwise, if there's any questions arising from those minutes, I'll be happy to address them. Okay.
Any questions? No? Okay.
So, Your Worship, there being no streetlight report, I'll move on to item 9C. That's the statistics report from the RCMP, and I'll ask Corporal Painter, he's present with us this evening, and ask him to come forward and
McGrath.
provide us.
Al.
What's that?
McGrath. Al. Constable.
Oh, sorry. Councilman McGrath.
Thanks for the promotion.
Yeah, I neglected to welcome you, Constable. So thanks a lot for coming.
So, month of June, there were 385 occurrences in the town of Stratford, with 366 of those being founded or still under investigation. There were 110 more occurrences than in the month of May. Traffic enforcement was slightly higher than the previous month, with 205 total occurrences. And that resulted in 56% of the monthly occurrences. There were 6 impaired driving occurrences, charges relating to 2 of these files. 1 drug-related impaired driving occurrence remains open and still under investigation. There was 1 charge for driving while disqualified, 11 motor vehicle collisions, 46 summary offense tickets, 86 written warnings, 25 selective traffic enforcement files, and there were 20 well-being check occurrences. 8 of these related to people on the Hillsborough Bridge. In mid-June, there were fires lit in the pit off Flourish Lane on back-to-back evenings. Suspects were identified and later met with, and their parents as well. On both occasions, Crossroads Fire Department was called out to assist. This matter has been addressed with the town and the fire chief, and there have not been any reported occurrences to the police since then. There was a school presentation on cyberbullying presented by Constable Hugh Pinellas, and the discussion was bullying and internet safety. and that was given to the grade 6 students. As well, Constable Pound and Corporal Mark Pierce, who is in charge of the police dog service, with his dog Nitro, attended Stratford Elementary for a community barbecue.
That's great.
Is there any questions?
Any questions for Constable McGrath?
No, I think it's great with the efforts of community, Constable McGrath, with the children's schools and the high schools and everything else. So, well, elementary schools, so community-based policing, which is relating with the members in the community, and with the children in the community. It's a great idea, getting out there. And I know that takes extra effort and with shifts and everything else, and it's great to see that being done. Yeah.
Thank you.
And before we started, I talked to Constable McGrath, and he was out at G7 for a couple of weeks, looking after a prime minister.
Painter, you mean?
Yeah, G7.
Oh, the Corporal Painter, you mean?
No, Constable McGrath.
Okay.
Constable McGrath was
Oh, sorry.
VIP training, but that's just some of the specialties like Ronnie and I talked about at the RCMP have, that we just don't ever see that in our community, but when you got to step up, they step up, right? So I just wanted to say congratulate him, come back safe, and with that, a great experience, and we talked about, I guess, the Prime Minister of Australia we're
Yes.
looking after.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was great to be a great experience for any member going to that G7 event.
Yeah, great.
I just have one small question. Do you find now, when it comes to having road stops, whatever, like road checks, whatever, is the trend seem to be moving upward on people getting caught for impaired, not from alcohol, but from other substances? Or does that seem to be more of a, I won't say call it a trend, but does that seem to be more of a occurrence now? When one time you used to pull somebody, to find somebody smoking marijuana like 10 years ago was not on par with alcohol. Like, do you find now at least they're on par kind of thing? Is that becoming a little bit more of a major problem?
It's definitely more prevalent. I don't have the hard data with the numbers here with me,
Right.
but I can get that checked and bring that back to you.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just curious, if that's because of legalization of marijuana, some people think that it's, maybe it's a little more freer to have that and get behind the wheel. But I was just curious if that's seems to be something that our society is kind of like thinking it's not that big a deal anymore, when really it can be, right? So.
Yes, it certainly is more prevalent, and
Yeah.
I'll bring that up with our analyst
Yeah.
and see if I can.
I'd
get
just
some
be
hard numbers
interested,
for you.
yeah. That's cool. Thank you.
I have a question or two as well. I often do. In regards to the total occurrences, and I know we always see a little spike when we're approaching summer or the spring. It seems that there's like more mischief stuff outside and whatever. But it looks like there's significant increases year over year. If I look at those numbers, are you guys there's just more happening, or the nature of your calls are changing, or?
Was there one particular type of occurrence, or just occurrences
Well, no, in the
general?
total occurrences year over year, it looks like there was, in the total founded, 366 this year as opposed to 250 last year, which is a more significant jump than year over year before. So is it population? Is it, just to get my head around, it seems like a high rate of increase.
Okay, population would definitely play a major role in it, demographics.
Yep. And in your
more-
wellness checks, 28 were related to kind of new area. Was that right? Is that what you said?
There were 20 well-being checks, and 8 of them related to the Hillsborough Bridge.
Okay. Okay. Oh, and my final question, I'm seeing it online that and I think the town itself posted information about door-to-door activity that potentially, I've seen a couple of different things, Councillor Jackson, but maybe like in some instances, people are not, like there's aggressive things or bad things happening at doors, is that right?
Like door-to-door scams?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not aware of any that were reported
Okay.
here. I will, like, let's say, Councillor Glant mentioned, I've been away for the past month, but I will look into that and have somebody bring that back to the town to see if there's been any reported occurrences
Okay.
of that.
But if someone found themselves in a situation like that, that they would call it in, right? That's a
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and if a person feels unsafe in the moment, there'd be absolutely nothing wrong with calling 911 in a situation like that.
Thanks.
Yeah, sorry, the only reason I laughed a little bit is Constable Dowling last year, we had this happen with my in-laws with scam with Bell, and some folks came and took them for quite a bit of money, and so it wasn't the occurrence, it was how I handled it, I think, that I was, thankfully, Constable Dowling kind of talked me down from really being angry at them, and it happened that it was the folks, somehow someone harvested some information, but the folks that went door to door were actually real, and I told them off, and anyway, yeah, so that was the laugh.
And just to clarify, the one that the
Yes.
town did put out
Yeah.
was concerned residents. Appears to be a legit business. I've spoken to the business. They're based in Ontario, but the behavior demonstrated caused some concern in that instance.
Okay.
Aggressive, just not,
Yeah.
maybe not forthcoming like we might expect on PEI or
Yes.
anywhere. I did, however, though, and just so you're aware, I did, however, see that Charlottetown Police Services have put out some warnings today or yesterday about some not-for-profits that are being impersonated. And that
Right.
is a scam activity. I have not heard of that in Stratford, but they did
Right.
put a warning out, so.
And I think that's what
Yeah.
I was trying to decipher as to whether
Yeah.
or not, because I have seen that post, and then also what the town had issued, and wondering if there's a correlation or if
What I'm
we're seeing
aware of
that.
was legit business taking place, just maybe not the tactics that we
Okay.
would want. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Constable McGrath?
Yeah, I just had a couple of things, if that's okay. Just wanted to, again, echo Deputy Mayor Gallant's comments about being grateful for the work you're doing with young people and the children at the elementary school, and letting them know that the police are their friend, and they're there to, in times of trouble or need, that they're there to help, not to be afraid of. I did want to follow up on a couple of things. Had a great meeting on June 12th with the commanding officer of the RCMP, Kevin Lewis, Chief Superintendent Kevin Lewis, and Nick Doyle, and I'm not sure of his rank, Sergeant?
Your crops officer?
Superintendent Drummond?
Yeah.
And yeah, Sarah's Superintendent Drummond, yeah,
Yes.
okay. Anyway, they were, we had a couple of discussions about, first of all, we were talking about July 1st, and we were worried about congestion, and that, I think, was handled very well, that there was no congestion that I'm aware of. But also the fact that there were 2 RCMP officers at the event. It was a hot day, and I know, it was a great thing to see them there, and really glad that they were there. And I want to thank yourself and the RCMP and Kevin in particular for having those people there, because it really means a lot to townspeople to see the RCMP at official functions like that. The other thing was, we had a discussion about drive-offs, and I know it's a continuing problem, and it's becoming clear that it's more of a civil issue than a criminal issue in most cases. And we spoke about the fact that in New Brunswick it's pay at the pump, and Nova Scotia, I believe it's mostly all pay at the pump. So it was suggested that the RCMP send a representative to a board meeting of the Federation of PEI Municipalities, which took place, I believe it was on the 17th of June. And there was a representative there who gave a great presentation about some of the dangers. People can get killed because, people drive off and somebody tries to stop them, they can get dragged or run over or whatever. And the fact that in most cases it's a mere forgetfulness or whatever, and it's something that police really don't need to be involved in, or shouldn't, probably in 95% or thereabouts of the cases. It's a just simple matter of people having problems with their card and forgetting about it or whatever, or thinking the other party paid that was with them. So that presentation, I think the Federation is going to now look at possibly drafting a resolution, but they're going to analyze it and see what the feelings. The response from the people who were there, from the board members, was very positive. So the Federation will now do analysis and will come back with a recommendation to the board about whether or not to propose a resolution to the next annual general meeting about pay at the pump. So I just wanted you to know about that and to thank Chief Superintendent Kevin Lewis for following up on those two issues. So just let them know that we really appreciate that.
Okay. Thank you,
And
sir.
thank you for all you do, keeping us all safe and everything as usual. You know, you're sort of like electricity. If there are no complaints, you don't realize that, you know, you're there. But you're keeping us safe, and we really appreciate that. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Constable McGrath, and apologies again for the mix-up in the name.
No problem.
I just want to comment because I misspoke, and when I was looking at the numbers that I was looking at is actually an increased number in the amount of traffic enforcement, which shows that you are doing a great job. It's not a crime number increasing. It's what you're seeing on the road. So thank you for that, and my apologies.
Thank you. No problem.
Thanks a lot.
Mayor, if I can add just one more thing as he's going, that's okay. We're good. But in St. Peter's, they just recently opened an Esso in St. Peter's, brand new little gas station there, and it's totally pay at the pump. It's directly. There's only way you don't pay inside. You have one option: pay at the pump. And I'm just telling you, St. Peter's would be as cash friendly of a town as you can find in PEI. In a lot of small towns and villages in PEI, cash is king, and people pay with cash. But in St. Peter's, it's had no glitch. It's gone very, very well. So to me, I think all of these companies that are posting things and saying people got off with gas stuff, you know, taking gas, and, you know, and like I looked at one the other day that somebody posted on social media, and the person had black sunglasses on at 10 o'clock at night, and he had a black hood over his license plate. I don't think that guy forgot to pay his pay at the pump. So at the end of the day, gas stations have got to have it pay at the pump. It's exactly what has to be done. Besides that, you know, there's no other recourse but for them to take control of that. Not for the, and it's taken up so much time for the police, and the police should not have to be dealing with that, at least on the scale they are.
Yep. But thank you, Steve, for taking that to the board and those stats.
Yeah, thank you.
No, it's great, and those stats, they're PEI-wide, because there's the police and the RCMP on the same system, so
Yeah, they had
those
ours.
numbers are correct, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
good to take that and get the conversation started. You know, it's sort of, you take it and see how far it goes with it, right?
Yeah, they're going to do analysis and come back
Yeah.
with a recommendation. I would
Yep.
hope that the recommendation's positive and it comes to the AGM and that we pass a resolution. Then it's up to the provincial government to work with the retailers to put it into effect.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, go ahead,
Okay, next
Councillor.
item, your worship, is the monthly Humane Society report, and that's included in everyone's package. Community patrols were up considerably this month with 22 at 64 year-to-date. And there were a couple of incidents of dog bites that the Humane Society is currently investigating. And so we'll just hold off on full details until that's finalized. But two, I understand, were relatively minor, one a bit more serious than the other. All three broke skin to some degree. One was in a fenced yard, two were not. So I don't know the entirety of the circumstances around them or where that's going to wind up, but the Humane Society staff are still looking into that. So if there's not any questions in the Humane Society report? No. Okay, we move on then to the fire company report. Your worship, there was a total of 27 call-outs for this past month. 22 of which were within Stratford, 4 in Crossroads, and 1 in Vernon River. And there is a further breakdown of that in the package as well, insofar as what comprised those call-outs, and a lot of them were a variety of different types of accidental pull alarms, false alarms, or alarm malfunctions. But they certainly do get a fair number otherwise by way of motor vehicle accidents and brush fires. There's 2 brush fires, and I guess we're getting into that season now where that could potentially be more commonplace, and I think Constable McGrath spoke to those location-wise near a pit. So,
I can mention one thing there, Constable, Councillor Dowling. During the month of June here, we had a fire on Mason Road, dwelling house fire, and a couple of family of 4 and a dog, 2 dogs, and it's in Ward 3, so I was up to see it. My company was on site there, but I just want to stress from the Chief Fire Marshal, Dave Roster, how competent Crossroads Fire Department was there. They said they did a fantastic job of putting the fire out and stopping it from going further. And so it was nice to hear that from the Fire Marshal Dave, and then of course Chief McCormick and Deputy Chief Billy McKinnon on site. And so it all worked. The response was quick, and they got it out quickly, but to further damage. But it was nice to hear from Dave Roster, the Chief Fire Marshal, and his deputy, how well the Crossroads Fire Department reacted to it. It was nice to hear.
Good news.
yeah. There, I sit on the board as a town representative. As you know, Your Worship, I haven't been appointed by you. And so I do get to interact with the various board members and the chief and the deputy chief and administrators. And, you know, it's always amazed me how proficient fire companies are, given that they're volunteers. You think volunteers, they're going to go in now and then. These people are training all the time. They're always
Every Tuesday.
doing upgrades on their training, going to fire school for additional training. And so, you know, as Councillor Lamb pointed out, you know, we have a very competent fire company and certainly stand shoulder to shoulder with any in the country, including those that have primarily paid forces. So, you know, you think about it when we're home bed 3 in the morning and they're getting calls to go out middle of the winter, middle of the summer, full gear. Either case, it's uncomfortable, you know, and they do it just because they love serving their community.
Yeah.
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 So,
You're absolutely right.
yeah. So there being, if there's no further questions, Your Worship, that will conclude my report for this month.
Thank you, Councillor. Okay, we'll now move on to Recreation, Culture, and Events. I'll ask the chair of that committee, Councillor Gordy Cox, to give his report.
Test. The following is an overview of projects and items that worked on within Recreation, Culture, and Events. The Recreation, Culture, and Events Committee, just to note this, did not meet in June. Canada Day, I think you said it best. A lot of things we talked about, Mayor, about the events of the water park there. I'll just add, you know, that you know, the day features a vibrant lineup of activities. There's live entertainment, family-friendly games, local vendors, plenty of cake and ice cream and strawberries. I thought Jeff and I worked the best as a tandem there. The Councillor McDonald and myself. I'm not sure that some of the staff would say that we, including Rachel, would say we did great. But congratulations to Mara Duncan, the Stratford Youth Volunteer of the Year, and to Christina Dowling, the Adult Volunteer of the Year. The town of Stratford is also excited to host the Tina Turner concert by Craig Fair Productions at the Town Centre Gym on July 17th, 18th, 19th, and then the 24th, 25th, and 26th. Also, big thanks to Richie Bolger, who did the sound down at the park. That was a massive job, and I thought he did a fantastic job. And also to Councillor Jill Chandler, who once again shone very brightly in the light that she has. So I thought she did a great job, Jill. Once again, excellent. So thank you so much. The event brought together community members of all ages, and I think that was great to see people from all over Stratford come down and enjoy themselves. Plenty of space. There was lots of entertainment, lots of dancing, and I think people already are circling the calendar for next year for that. So thanks so much. Stratford Youth Center and Council. As we move into summer months, most regular Stratford Youth Center programs will be taking a well-deserved break. There will be several key initiatives, however, that will continue to operate and keep youth engaged throughout the summer, like the Leadership Program, Youth Council, and the Garden Club will remain active, and ongoing opportunities for youth will be present there. So, in addition, 3 different leadership groups will be traveling this summer as part of the Youth Center leadership trips. They'll be offering rich experiences that building confidence, teamwork, and community spirit. So, good for them. Memorandum, Recreation, Culture, and Events Department. The Stratford Summer Camp hosted by the Youth Center will also be running throughout the summer, bringing energy and fun. We're proud to recognize the achievements of our youth, like we talked about with people like Maria Duncan. Also from September 2024 throughout August 2025, over 77 registered youth members have collectively done over 5,000 volunteer hours in our community. So, and basically in a 1-year span, actually 11 months, they've done over 5,000 hours of volunteers. So that's really great to see that our youth are stepping up and helping out in our community. Looking ahead, the new Youth Center season officially begins September 2025, and registration for that will be open in late August. Summer maintenance and planning. The town of Stratford summer maintenance and improvement schedule is well underway, with teams working across the community to ensure public spaces are safe, clean, and fully ready for the general public in this busy summer season. Highlight of the season's work includes upgrades to pond-side tennis courts, while courts, walls, and fences were repainted or repaired or fixed up in any way that was necessary. Work also progressing steadily at Lance Park and Glen Cove, with upgrades including installation of new playground borders, added picnic tables, new paint on basketball courts, painting of playground equipment, etc. So we continue to work closely with the area residents to best meet their needs. 10 new picnic tables have been added to Stratford Parks this season, including 2 designed specifically for the wheelchair accessibility. So nice to see that is coming to fruition. New benches also be installed in several locations like Pondside Park and community trails. Additional project highlights include ongoing work at Clearview Park, where we hope to complete court upgrades within the next 2 weeks. Murals will be painted in the coming weeks at Pondside Park, Cotton Park, and Waterfront Park, adding vibrancy and character to these popular community spaces. Look forward to unveiling the exceptional pieces and celebrating the talent of, especially the talent of local artists. Recreation programs. The town of Stratford's summer recreation programs are in full swing, offering a variety of opportunities for youth and families to stay active. All you have to do is drive around Stratford and you'll see soccer games everywhere, you'll see cricket games, you'll see baseball happening everywhere. So it's nice to see that people are fully engaged with activities, and also our walking trails. Nice to see people on the walking trails. And I have to say, Stratford, I think, is one of the most active communities in PEI, and we continue to do that. So, and kudos to our staff for making everything top shape for that. Several sports programs also launched in early July. Intro to Sports begins on July 7th, and U4 soccer just kicked off on July 5th. So nice to see those in place. We're pleased to welcome this year's coaching team of Rourke, Bradley, Duran, Luca Hood, Narcy, Glenn Cross, Ashley McDonald, and Marla Duncan. In addition, a variety of tennis programs are being offered throughout the summer to accommodate several different ages and skill levels. So nice to see that that's in place. The town of Stratford also excited to see that our youth are not only learning new skills, but also trying out new programs such as pickleball that has really come up in the last couple of years. So. Yeah, so let me see if there's anything else I want to add here at the very end. No, I think that's, thank you, Jeremy Pierce, for submitting this to me. And any questions or thoughts or concerns or anything?
I have a question and a comment. The question is maybe, I don't know if it's recreation or infrastructure, but I noticed that the active transportation trail from the Hillsborough Bridge, as it leads on to, like, on the Stratford side, there's a lot of growth, like shrubs and stuff coming through the fencing, and I just wondered, is that ours to maintain? Or, yeah, I thought potentially, like, it looks nice, but potentially if there were multiple users or bikes, like, it will grow to become intrusive, I think. It looks nice, but. No, I'm just noticing it coming through, like, it grows on the beach side of the fence, but it's coming through the fence and onto the trail a little bit.
The province does
Okay.
maintain all of that, the median between the paved trail and the guardrail coming over the bridge and everything along there. So
Okay.
we're at the mercy of waiting until they get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. And then I just wanted to comment on what Gordy said in regards to the Craig Fair production that's going to come to the Stratford Gymnasium. So we've had different events at the gym. I know there's been like widespread attendance with different wrestling and whatnot. This is a really big, large-scale production, and it's on for 6 nights, and I think it's a wonderful opportunity that we are hosting such a cultural event. This particular production employs 20 people. There's aerial artists, like, these are top-notch musicians, and someone's coming in to reimagine the space of our gymnasium. So if you get a chance to check out the show or let other residents and folks know to come, it'll be really neat to see our space used in that way. And also helps us envision what we can do going forward in the future with arts and culture spaces and the kind of experiences we can offer residents and visitors.
Is it the Tina Turner? Or
Yeah, that's the Tina Turner Show.
Simply the best.
I tell you, that this summer I saw Craig's group did Fleetwood Mac down in Montague at Copper Bottom, and it was just spectacular. Like my wife and I said, like, this could be shown in Halifax, could be shown like anywhere. It's like, it was really fantastic. The sing, if you close your eyes, you swear it's Fleetwood Mac, and it was just really great to see it, like how much hard work they put in, and they really he always puts a great product forward whenever Craig does different, he puts on different singers and different events and stuff, and it's always top notch. So yeah, I'm same with you, Jill. I think people should go out and check that out.
Yeah, no, it will be great. And just really, it's just exciting to think that we're going to host an event of this scale and caliber here in Stratford. And I hope we have the opportunity to host many more.
Any other comments or questions on the recreation report?
I just have one on Canada Day celebrations, just a kudos to everybody involved, and Melody and Jeremy and everybody, all the staff, and, you know, it was just a fantastic job. Fire department, the flag, Canadian flag, and then, you know, with the RCMP officers there, and Jill did a fantastic job of singing All Canada. It was nice. It's, you just sit back there and listen to you, and then you think of what's going on in the world, and, you know, we're all proud Canadians, and it was a really nice job. And then you going through the crowd with a mic, like I said earlier, that was great. Kept everybody in, you know, it did a fantastic job. Kept everybody involved, and with a hot day, but it was a real first time doing it, like our event. It really went over well, and you know, we can add to it. Like the food truck was there, and so on, and the youth center had their stuff there, and the stage was great, and then and everything else was great. So it went over well, and then of course afterwards, everybody cleaned up and locked her up tight, and no other cars down there. So it was great. That was great.
So good. And I had fun participating, but when I think about the visionaries who actually participated in the council level and staff level to reimagine that space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From what it was to
Yeah.
what it is now, and
Yeah.
the gorgeous backdrop and the potential that it has. Like,
Yeah.
it's really something else to be down
Yeah.
there.
And
So-
the parking was done fantastic with Jeremy and the staff, and like there's 300 or 400 cars there, so the parking went over really well, and we're all concerned about it, but everybody got a place to park and pulled out of there quickly.
Test. Like, I don't think there's a staff member here that wasn't somehow involved in this, in the Canada Day, like from our financial departments to Wendy, to, you know, Jeremy, to Melanie, with everybody, and Jeremy Crosby, like everybody because this is a huge production for us to do this. And the thing I think that, and they did a great job. Like, and the thing I noticed really at the end, I was trying to help Jeremy Pierce put down some of the awnings there or whatever, but I think I was wrecking them, so he told me, you know, probably best that I go home. So anyway, and I agreed. Anyway, no, he was pretty good. But the thing I noticed was the absence of litter. Like, it was really not that much litter and stuff around. It was really, I mean, there was some, but it was really pretty darn good after, like, as far as, you know, not having things, a lot of litter blown around and that kind of thing. I thought people were really good to put their litter where they should go and stuff,
No,
so.
went over with the flag and the RCMP, everything, and Elcan, went over. It was beautiful. It was great.
Yeah, no, it was a great job. I think comments are well-founded.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Okay, go ahead.
Just one, and I do apologize, folks, for not being a candidate. And I think I passed on to Melanie and some others, just some family stuff going on, but heard from a lot of coworkers just how well the event was organized, what a spectacle it was coming across the bridge to and from Stratford the other on Canada Day. So it was nice to hear that. Just while we're talking about Craig Fair, we do have someone on our council that's in another Craig Fair production. I think there's 6 shows, maybe? Just 3 shows. So These Dreams, A Night of Heart at the trail side, so just across town. Still maybe tickets left, we're not sure. And it's not me, it's Councillor Chandler, but anyway, if you really put your money where your mouth is on saying what a great singer she is, buy tickets at the trail side and show up. Hearing it's a great show lined up and some real talented folks, so I just thought I'd throw that in too.
That's great. Thanks a lot. Good luck. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great to have that kind of talent on our council. Yeah, any other comments or questions? I'm very conscious of the time here, so I think if there are no other comments or questions, we'll move on. And again, that concludes your report, Councillor? Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your report. Okay, Finance and Technology, I'll ask the Chair of that committee, Councillor Jody Jackson, to give his report.
Great, thank you, Your Worship. And in the essence of time, I'll be quick. Just some overview of some things going on in the Finance Department. We had MRSB's been in to do the on-site audit work for the year end during the week of June 23rd. So I know our staff are now continuing with ongoing audit questions, sending information to the web portal, so working hard on the audit. Town insurance was sent out to tender, and we do a tender every 4 years. That closes on July 16th, and I think we'll be discussing that at our next committee of the whole meeting. With training underway with the new financial coordinator. I know we're very fortunate to have a very experienced financial coordinator coming on board, and I know Kim's very happy with that, so it's great, great to see. Utility bills processed, going to be processed actually today for e-billing, and customers that receive their bills by mail, they'll get them by July 16th. So other than that, that's just a quick report, and just looking early days with our budget. Expenses are down a little bit, and it's good to see the CUSA grant, the new amount in there, I believe.
Good.
So any questions on that? I know we're trying to get moving here.
No, I really appreciate the work that the finance group is doing and keeping us on track, and all the work that goes into the audit. I know that we have outside auditors in, but I know they need supervision and they need space and all the logistics. So that's, I really appreciate the work that you're doing there. Thank you.
Just,
Thank you,
just the
Councillor Jackson.
Update, I have an infrastructure, the disconnection of services. Was there many disconnected?
Sorry, is this not? Yeah, so utility disconnect notices were done on June 12th. We had 3 properties that were disconnected, and only one of them is still disconnected, so
Okay.
very few.
Good.
And staff, I know, have always tried to work very hard with those folks to find an agreement or
Yeah.
some kind of a way to
Yeah.
fix those. So again, a small number, but thanks for
That's
asking.
great. No,
Thank you.
small numbers, things are tough.
Okay, thanks for your report, Councillor Jackson. Okay, we'll now move to Planning, Development, and Heritage. I'll ask Councillor Jeff McDonald, chairs that committee, to give his report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You have the building permit and type summaries at present in your package. Very briefly, certainly we've fallen dramatically off the pace from last year, but I think that can be explained, of course, by the fairly large development value for the institutional sector from last year, which was, of course, the high school. So accepting that, we have a very healthy development mix still continuing for development in the first half of this year. So that's positive to see, and certainly we expect, after speaking with planning staff, that we will continue to see a fairly busy planning environment over the remaining half of 2025. Hard to believe we're halfway through 2025 already, but it's been a good year for planning, and certainly thanks to staff for doing everything that they're doing, and also thanks to council and the planning committee for all of their serious consideration to these matters. We have two resolutions for council's consideration this evening. The first one bears number PH 032-2025, RZ 00-125. Cornerstone Baptist Church, located at 295 Shakespeare Drive, is applying for a rezoning from Town Center Institutional, the TCI zone, to Town Center Mixed Use, TCMU zone. The resolution is moved by myself as Chair of Planning, Development, and Heritage. It reads as follows. Whereas an application has been received from the Cornerstone Baptist Church for a request to rezone PID 1016377, located at 295 Shakespeare Drive, from the Town Center Institutional Zone to the Town Center Mixed Use Zone. Whereas the applicant is proposing the zoning change for the future creation of 3 medium-density residential lots along Shakespeare, and for the expansion of the existing institutional church building. And whereas pursuant to the Provincial Planning Act and Section 3 of our Zoning and Development Bylaw number 45, Council shall hold a public meeting to solicit input from residents on the proposed zoning amendment application. Be it resolved that a public meeting be held to solicit input from residents on the application to rezone PID 1016377, located at 295 Shakespeare Drive, from the Town Center Institutional Zone to the Town Center Mixed Use Zone. And this resolution does bear the recommendation of Planning, Development, and Heritage as held at the meeting on June 30th, 2025.
Seconder? Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Okay, discussion.
Just a comment, Your Worship, I noticed there's for sale signs up there, and I don't know whether there's existing lots in the previous or in the current zone that have been delineated, or whether they're kind of getting ahead of themselves in putting lots up for sale prior to the, I know, I realize this is just a vote in relation to the public meeting, which I'm certainly in favor of. I'm just curious as to why they would have signs.
It would have to be conditional on, any offers or sales would have to be conditional on the rezoning, I would think.
Yeah, but typically, when we're, one of the factors, at least, from my experience, we give consideration to when someone's rezoning is typically it's in relation to a particular purpose, rather than to have it rezoned for the purpose of sale alone. There's nothing preventing people that have been doing that, I suppose, but I have seen in the past, in another iteration on council, where developers or property owners sought a rezoning with quasi proposals as to what was going to happen, and then properly sold them at a higher value because they've been rezoned without any indication of what is intended for those properties. And maybe I'm off in left field, but I just feel more comfortable when I know when a property owner is trying to rezone a property, it's more comforting to know what it is that's intended to go there, because within changes in zoning, you can often get into a lot of land uses that the public might otherwise be more vehemently opposed to than others. And once it's rezoned, then anything is open within that particular zoning.
Okay, maybe I'll ask the Chair of
Yeah.
Planning to respond.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just address that, and certainly not out of place comments, and certainly I did notice those signs myself, Councillor, coming to the meeting here today. I think mostly I'm mindful of who the applicant is, being a religious institution. and they're not necessarily in the business of developing, medium-density units or things of that nature. So they've been fairly upfront by the fact that they have some expansion plans for themselves and for their institution and for their organization. And so they're like everything else, and they need to raise some money. And they've been fairly clear as well that they'd like to have that rezoned to allow for some residential uses, to allow for the creation of some, I think from what I understand, some medium-density housing within the town core. And so that's the basis of the rationale. And I understand what you're saying, Councillor, in the form of typically what we do see are development applications from the actual developer. In this case, this is a rezoning for with a view to selling it. But considering, I think, who the applicant is and what, they might not like me saying this, like their business as such is providing religious services, then certainly I think I can understand it a little more. But I think certainly you've always been very good to attend the public meetings, especially as they relate to development applications or rezonings as they occur in your ward, Councillor. So I fully expect that these would be great questions and great points to raise at that public
Yeah.
meeting.
That's my point. That's what I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
No, I feel that way too. I mean, there's no concept plan at all.
No, this is for a public meeting.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is for a public meeting, but.
Oh, this is for a public meeting?
Yeah,
Oh,
just for a
okay,
public
sorry.
meeting, yeah.
But to assist the councillor, and I think it's a good, to at least show him, if we could bring up the conceptual layout. It's a little small there, but that gives you an idea. And Shakespeare's towards the north there, and so these are where the lots are going to be.
Good for public meeting,
Yeah, and it is just for a public meeting, of course, yeah.
I guess my point being, Councillor, is that, yes, at the public meeting, and I will follow up, as you say, at the meeting, but if they're not proposing something themselves and they're simply selling a lot, they won't be able to speak at the public meeting as to what might wind up there, other than they might intend it to be residential.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure, absolutely.
But they can certainly put covenants or put conditions on any sale purchase agreement. Anyway, those are good questions for the public meeting. So I guess the issue before us is, does council agree that public meeting would be in order for this proposal? Any other comments or questions before I call for the vote?
Sorry, I do agree with Councillor McDonald on this, and I do understand where Councillor Dowling is coming from, but this being a church, religious organization, I would like to see this go to public meeting. I know that's unfortunate if there's signs up already, but this church and its congregants, I guess, were instrumental when we had the hurricane in hosting others from out of province and out of country who helped to clean it up, to help clean up after the storm. Samaritan's Purse was in there. Not that that does anything other than just understanding that they've given a lot to the community. It's not a money-making venture, essentially, as Councillor McDonald is. And if we can do anything to provide at least an option, get to the public meeting. And I would encourage them to have potentially more information to help all of us and to help residents understand the plan. But I do, I do agree with this going to a public meeting.
Okay, any other comments or questions before I call for the vote? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried. You have another resolution,
I do,
Councillor?
yes, thank you. This is the second one. This is for a more substantive decision. This is number PH 033-2025, RZ 002-25, from the applicant Falcon Homes with respect to PID 1085976 at Ducks Landing. Proposed rezoning from R1 to Town Center Residential. This is for a first reading. It's moved by myself as Chair of Planning, Development and Heritage, and it reads as follows. Whereas an application has been received from Falcon Homes for a request to rezone PID 1085976, located on Ducks Landing from the low-density residential R1 zone to the Town Center Residential TCR zone. And whereas the purpose of the zoning change is to facilitate a future 6-unit stacked townhouse development located in between an existing 18-unit multiple attached dwelling and a single detached dwelling. And whereas in accordance with the Stratford Zoning and Development Bylaw number 45, 50 notification letters were sent out to property owners whose parcels were within 150 meters of the subject property, 2 advertisements were placed in the Guardian newspaper on June 14th, 2025, and the 21st, 2025. Signage was placed on the property, and the proposed zoning amendment was advertised on social media to solicit input and to notify residents of the public meeting. And whereas a public meeting was held on June 23rd, 2025, with 6 residents in attendance and was streamed live on the town's YouTube channel, residents were given until June 27th, 2025 to submit their comments. And whereas planning staff received 17 response letters from residents representing 12 unique properties, or 24% of notified properties, providing comments on the proposed zoning amendment and proposed future development of the subject lands. Be it resolved that bylaw number 45U, a bylaw to amend the town of Stratford zoning and development bylaw, be hereby read and approved for a first time. And this resolution does bear the recommendation of Planning, Development, and Heritage as discussed at a meeting held on June 30th, 2025.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Oh, sorry, I missed. Did you have your hand up first? Okay. Yeah, discussion.
So this matter has been before us. This is for the second time, so to speak, because we had already voted on a resolution for the public meeting, which has been held. It was certainly attended, and residents were there and provided commentary, which of course is always respected and well received by the town, and is always frankly encouraged, because without the meaningful input of our citizens, sometimes decisions can be made in a vacuum, and their voices are absolutely crucial for us to hear. So I certainly always appreciate and thank those who come out to attend and present at the public meeting, both for and against any proposed development. In terms of this specific application, this is of course before us for first reading. The nature of the application is to rezone from R1 to Town Center Residential. And I'm wondering what we could do is to provide it's 3-9B-1, which is the aerial image with a zoning map overlay. So I believe this was shown at the public meeting. Essentially what we have here, ladies and gentlemen of council, is an area of the town just to the north of our town hall. And so what we have is towards the west, a town center residential zone, and towards the east, R1 zone, which are delineated in those separate colors. And the specific property in question is on the border between this TCR zone and the R1 zone. And essentially what they are seeking to do is rezone it to that, I'm going to call it dark purple TCR zone. The difference is, of course, that the TCR zone, as identified in our official plan and as described in our zoning and development bylaw, allows for I guess a broader mix of potential uses as opposed to the R1 zone. The lot in question is vacant and has been vacant from what I understand since these zones were created, I believe sometime in 2010. There is directly to the east a single-family unit, and directly to the north is a 18-unit apartment building, and directly to the west is an 18-unit apartment building. So certainly there's a large number of factors that we have to consider whenever we're looking at rezoning any property in the town, some of which certainly is conformance with the official plan, taking into account the character of the surrounding neighborhood, the desirability of some more dense development along transit corridors, as well as the inputs of our residents. And certainly all of those factors are very much in play with this proposed rezoning. From my perspective, certainly I do think it's something that when viewed in a vacuum, there may be a small argument for a spot zone, though I certainly would reject that argument, just in the sense that the TCR zone is present to the west. So essentially what this is creating is somewhat of an encroachment of that TCR zone into the R1 zone, but I would not characterize it necessarily as a spot zone. Now, what the applicants have proposed is to create a 6-unit building there in the form of stacked townhouses. I just want to get the... I believe if we could go to 4-9B-2 provides the concept site plan.
Right there, yeah.
So this is showing, now this, I guess this schematic right now is rotated somewhat from the map we just saw. Essentially, the 3 parking driveways are leading out into Duck's Landing, and the facade of the building is showing to the west. And so basically pointing up is east. And so from what I understand, the developer has worked with town staff to sort of reconfigure the layout of both the parking as well as the potential balconies, which are represented in white towards the east to basically minimize any encroachments on the privacy of any surrounding neighbors, and to really try to make this as, I guess, neutral in terms of development as possible. So I'm wondering if there is, and there's one more view that I'd like to provide. I'm just trying to see.
Has it,
Sarah, I see you there, and I'm just wondering, I don't remember the specific name of it, but it's the one showing the various building heights. Do we have that available?
Yep.
Yeah. So Sarah with planning, and she's present here, folks, if you have questions for her, she prepared this, and I think it's very helpful, and I'm certainly kind of hoping we can see it sometimes in other applications. So it kind of shows the massing of this building, and it's the one in the middle there.
yeah,
And I think it's really, it's demonstrative of the fact that this really does kind of flow with the surrounding development. We do have the 18-unit building to the west, the 18-unit building to the north, single-family to the south, but there really is very much a step down from that 18-unit to the 6-unit to the single-family, which pays attention, I think, to some good planning principles, and also reflects a positive form of infilling, which I think is always desirable. So we're not, this potential development adds 6 units to our development mix potentially, but also does not create any onerous costs on the town in the form of additional utility or servicing beyond the nominal costs of hooking up any new development. So all of which I would suggest militate in favor of approving this rezoning. Subject to any questions from any of you, those are my comments, but certainly Ms. Kennedy and Mr. Ruff are here from planning to answer any of your questions or comments.
Any other comments or questions, Councillor?
It's no surprise. A couple of issues, Your Worship. First of all, I do appreciate that the developer has worked with staff to modify plans to make it a little more palpable from a parking perspective, although, you know, residents have concerns that parking would still be an issue as it is around that area. My big issue is that, you know, we canvassed residents in a public meeting and by way of their written input, and we did receive that, and it was a resounding rejection of a change within an R1 zone. And we have plenty of areas within the city that we can densify or build more densely without squeezing it onto a small lot that was intended to be a single-family home originally. Although, yes, appreciating that things can change. I don't know, maybe we do it in every instance. I don't recall there being a percentage of notified properties responding. Perhaps that's in every resolution. But, and I think with 17 responses on 12 unique properties, that's, you know, looking at 24% seems low, but I think the majority of those within that radius of notification would have fallen within the apartment units who are already in the TCI zone and wouldn't have any particular, or TCR zone, sorry, wouldn't have any particular opposition to it because they're in it. Whereas the people in the R1 zone would have an opposition and have expressed that opposition. And based on that, and you know, we heard talk about, and Councillor McDonald mentioned it, it's not, you know, it's a bit of a unique property in the sense that we don't often get such requests within an R1 zone where it's so close to heavier densified properties such as we have here. Nonetheless, it is, it might not be the absolute true qualification of a spot zone, but you know, it is. It's a particular piece of property within an R1 zone that's sought to be rezoned, and you know, by that definition, I would suggest that it is a spot zone. The other components, we've heard mention of transition. You know, it's a transition from heavy density to single family. And as I mentioned at the Planning and Development and Heritage Committee, where I voted against the recommendation to council, appreciating the committee did bring forth that recommendation, and it's fine. That's how it works. But an argument I made there, whether it was successful or not, you know, people did entertain it, they listened to it, we had discussion around it, is what constitutes this transition zone, because we're getting into development of our official plan and review of our development and planning bylaws, and hopefully this notion of a transition properties will be clearly explained. This is not a transition, this is one piece of property within a whole row of properties that's being densified within the R1. I would suggest a true expression of a transition would be where you have a series of densified properties, then you have a series of lower densified properties, then you have a series of even lower densified properties, perhaps R1, not a lot within a row of R1. But anyway, for that reason, those reasons, and then primarily the expression of concerns around from the residents, I'm speaking against this motion, and I won't be supporting it.
Thank you for those comments, Councillor. We will be considering this, you know, all aspects of this, and but I do appreciate you bringing forward those comments. Okay, any other comments or questions? Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I wasn't sure if we were going around the table or not. So, yeah, we did get a lot of feedback from residents on this, but I do want to point out a couple things from that. So I will be voting for this resolution. Just in looking at some of the focus from the residents on, you know, the number of cars in driveways where, you know, the streets are too busy, all of the different things. And we talked about this before, maybe down the road in another area, but, you know, there's a lot of our kids, I only have one, but there's a lot of our kids that are going to be essentially forced into teaming up with 3 or 4 other kids, even afford a place. So that's fine, but I think characterizing it as something other than that maybe is problematic for me. I mean, it is the reality of today's real estate that that's what you have to do. I mean, I had to live with my brother and his wife when we were young just to make ends meet. It's 10 times worse now. So I think it's not really, you know, we're not a town who picks and chooses who comes to live in certain areas. So if it's a bunch of young men or ladies that want to put their money together and live in a place, you know, good for them, and we welcome them. Traffic, another thing that is always brought up, and, you know, I think through the planning committee and from the province, it's not seen as an issue here, so I respect that. Again, just you know, some of the comments about broken trust and the lower house prices, the broken promises from council and, you know, calling these taxi ranks and other things like that. I think it's just not really a fair characterization of what is planned here. I think it's, as Councillor McDonald said, it's another option in this area for folks who are really looking for a nice place to live with, could be a family, could be some friends, could be, you know, different generations of the same family, but it doesn't matter. But I do, you know, understand folks that have lived in the area that had a thought on what it would be there forever. I don't feel like we can ever guarantee that, so I don't think trust is kind of broken with that. I think we have to look at opportunities when there's a good proposal put forward to consider that, and I think with it being next to the apartments, traffic is already an issue in Ducks Landing. I lived there for a number of years, but this isn't going to make it any worse. So I think some of the arguments are, you know, they're the same refrain that we hear all the time, and I respect that, and I know traffic is an issue everywhere in Stratford, but I think this is a good proposal here, and I look forward to supporting it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Thanks for those comments. I will give every councillor an opportunity to comment on this. I was going to go around the table, but Councillor, would you like to comment, Councillor Cox?
Yeah, I also will be voting yes. I listened to the meeting the other day and read through everything, and one thing, this lot was vacant for a long time, and very unsightly is what different people have talked about that site, about that lot. And so I would have voted no on the garden home build behind my house. And now here we are 3 years later, and it's had no issues, and it's had it hasn't affected my life in one bit. And I would have been up in arms 3 years ago and said, like, this shouldn't come in. It's right in the middle of residential here. The Molyneux's right next door, and I'm next door to them. There's no other place like that, crossing the golf course, where I would have been so adamant. And here I am today. It doesn't really affect me at all, in any way at all. So I think we need to look at the big picture here. We need to get families and get people in Stratford finding places, and this is another alternative, that the people can look at. And stackable townhouses are the way of the future here in Stratford, and we have to start embracing that. And so I fully agree that I know it may not be the best thing for some people in that area. It wasn't the best thing for me in my area. I didn't think, but it actually is. So sometimes you change your opinion when things go in place, but we need to find some housing. And just as a side note, this afternoon before I got ready to come here, a resident from a new subdivision build in Stratford came. This person dropped by and saw me and said they're moving out of this new subdivision build because they can't afford it. And this is a senior, and it's $26.50 a month, and the new subdivision by the Blue Church there will be same price basically as that is, like, give or take, but it'll be fairly close, I would imagine. And but if you look at it this way, if it's $26.50 within 3 years, that's going to be $3,000 a month. And so if a person's renting at $3,000 a month, every 3 years you are dishing out $100,000 in rent. So for some people, they're now looking at how can I get a house, and what can I do? And if I get a house, I may need to get somebody else in on this with me. People are starting to be a little more creative with this. So we need to build more affordable, not just for people whose salaries are maybe lower or whatever, but more affordable for everybody. We need to look at the whole community of Stratford. People can't pay $3,000 a month for a place. I don't know if anybody can. Even if you're a doctor, I don't think it's hard to pay $3,000 a month. We need to start building places. We need to get better options for the people moving into Stratford and people that live here. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Councillor. Councillor Chandler, do you have any comments on this proposal?
Yes, I do. I have read through the proposal and the comments from residents, and I do want to put it out there that I do take comments from residents seriously when people express concerns. I think it is our job to listen to them. And when I look back at our most recent decision that people had objections to, certainly there were some very well-researched arguments, I felt, with the water. I felt that there was a very organized and very thoughtful opposition. And in this regard, when I look at the feedback, although I can see several people took the time to respond, I would say that a lot of the content is possibly conveying some bias or assumptions about the outcome of the space. And for that reason, it's hard, it's harder to advocate for that. So I think that this actually is a good use of that space. I think it is responsible. I think that it is in line with much of the surrounding areas. I think it does open up more affordable housing for people who want to choose those options. And for that reason, I will support this one.
Thank you for those comments.
Yeah, just,
Deputy
yeah,
Mayor?
I just comment on the planning with Sarah and the staff, looking at the letters too, how respectfully they approached it with the residents of like bringing the building itself out towards the road and the parking out towards the road and the berms on the side. You know, and it's a neighborhood of, it's not going to change the neighborhood at all. It's just, it's something that you got to think outside the box, especially with the housing shortage and so on. And then, and if you look at Charlottetown and Summerside, the House Accelerator Fund, they're assisted to put 4 units in a neighborhood, in a R1 neighborhood right now, and drop them in there, and all over the country. That's what the House Accelerator Fund is. So, but this here is 3 units, 6 doors, and 2 units high, and I think that area since 2010 wasn't, you know, and there's one letter there that talked about the rodents in the area, stuff like that, and the grass wasn't cut and that. But I, respectfully, hopefully the builder, and I could see it, you know, I was in one last week on Kelly Heights. I dropped into Stack Townhouse and talking to the contractors, went through, walked in, beautiful, beautiful up and down, and I could see this opening the door for families like Councillor Cox said about the rents being so high, and add something, hopefully $1,600, $1,700 here will bring some young families in here. But I want to compliment the planning department. I know sometimes we're harsh on them, and I said, you know, but the berms there, and they bring the parking out front, and the parking itself, we had problems up in Briar Jones. We put the signs up, and the RCMP looked after that. But if they had the spots, I mean, you can't. It's black and white. I mean, it's just you can't argue about that. So I'll be in favor of this new for this new site there.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just before I call for the vote, I do want to make a couple of comments. First of all, I want to emphasize that we really respect the views of residents, especially those in the area, and the comments, and them coming out to the public meeting and making their views known. However, we as council have to balance the views of residents in the area with the needs of the whole town, and we're obligated by law to follow our official plan, and we've made a decision in our official plan to increase density on transit corridors and in areas that are served by transit, as other municipalities have done. So this is a transit corridor. I also would point to areas like Harley Street in Charlottetown, which has single-family dwellings and large apartment buildings side by side. And that's a very pleasant neighborhood to live in, and it's a traditional neighborhood, but it's they built the apartment buildings, and everybody's fine. And so I think that you know, sometimes the fear and uncertainty that goes with change is really difficult for residents. But I truly respect their views on this, and we don't take decisions like this lightly. But we have to balance the local views with the needs of the whole town. So for that reason, I guess that's what I want to say about council's approach to this. And I really respect all council's approach on this, because I think even contrary arguments need to be gotten out there. And so we've had a good discussion on this. So if there are no other comments, I'll call. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councillor Jackson.
Just one brief one. And I know we you know, this may be just a nice to have kind of thing, but if just hearing some of the comments from residents, if there was consideration maybe to a fence in that area that might alleviate some of the issues that were mentioned, I guess, just in as far as breaking up that, you know, even cementing that transition a little more. I know we're not mandated to, no one's mandated to do that, but it's just a suggestion to consider.
At the back of it?
between the new and the,
I think there's a berm in between, isn't there? There's a berm,
yeah,
like a berm, two berms, one each side.
yeah, berm's a little different than a fence, but it's just a
Okay.
consideration, not just my own.
I think one of the interesting things that I found out about this, this brought to mind, made me aware of, was the fact that building heights are actually higher, are allowed to be higher in the R1 zone than they are in the TCMU zone. So that was quite enlightening to me, that this kind of guarantees more privacy, because the building won't be as high as the, it doesn't, you know, it can't be as high as it could be in an R1 zone. Okay, if there are no other comments or questions, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Okay, motion carried.
Can I make one comment quickly? I know it's nothing to do with passing it. I just want to make a comment. I already voted yes, so. But when you look at the garden home subdivision behind my place, like, once the toothpaste is out of the tube, you can't put it back in. And to me, I think we really, really dropped the ball here on that subdivision for the Molyneux family. There should have been a fence along that area. There should have been a buffer zone, whatever. People, I don't know who the people are, but people let this family down. And off one of the decks from the garden home development, it's 40 feet from the person where they're barbecuing right into this person's living room or dining room. And it may be less than 40 feet, but it just seems that we have to be the people that understand what is happening here and what's going to take place and how close is it going to be. They were never explained about a buffer zone. They didn't even know they could talk or ask about that. They had no clue about that. And I'm not saying what I did was great, but at least I went after the builder and asked to put a line of trees there. And they did put a line of trees there, but these people are in their 70s, and they're never going to see those trees make a difference.
Counselor, could we have a discussion about this offline?
Sure,
if you don't
sure.
mind?
Yeah, I just want to say,
I think there's a couple of facts that I need to make you aware of.
okay, but the final part about this is, I think exactly what Jody said. I think we have to talk about a fence, or we have to talk about something in place before it starts. And I'd like to see us do more of that. Is that okay?
That's first reading, so we will get an opportunity
Yeah, okay.
at second reading and before second
Yeah, I
reading
just
and
wanna make-
adoption to have a discussion about this.
I just
so,
want to get on my
yeah.
soapbox, sorry.
No, that's great. Thank you. Thanks for those comments. Okay, we're now going to move on. That concludes your, thank you, Counselor. All right, we'll now move on to infrastructure. I'll ask Deputy Mayor Gallant to give, he chairs that committee. I'll ask him to give the infrastructure report.
Yeah, the infrastructure minutes are unapproved infrastructure committee minutes on June 9th, you're in your report. Just over stuff there. I'll move down to the infrastructure memo dated July 9th. Staff have been busy managing project at various stages. Consultants are completing design for our Myrtle Street extension, Zachem sewer lift station upgrades, Reeves Estate water main, distribution and replacement of sewer lift stations, standby generators. Contractors are finishing up deficiencies for closeout of Corey's sewer lift station, Corey's Foreman extension, and new water reservoir, and preparing for project startup in Glen Stewart Drive multi-purpose trail. Repair work has been begun on the water main crossing Trans-Canada Highway, Jubilee and Kenlock. New pipe was installed and connect with the north side of the highway. Once the Department of Transportation infrastructure and complete the intersection upgrades currently underway, the final component of the water main repair will be completed on the south side of the highway. We have approved 40 applications for the sump pump redirection rebate program to date, and approximately $63,000 of rebates to be used, with half of funding remaining. We continue to encourage customers to call for more information on the eligibility of the program and to sign up before things get busy when the program, again, the fall. Of course, when your sump pumps in the fall, everybody's looking for their sump pumps when the fall weather starts. Infrastructure start has always been busy, has also been busy with the following. All seasonal casual positions have been filled with durations of anywhere from 10 weeks to 26 weeks. Grass cutting continues, assisted with preparations set up for candidate celebrations. Speed radar, modern speed hump installation is ongoing, with humps installed on Glen Stewart Drive, Hollis Avenue, Aptos Drive, Emily Drive, Brookside Drive, Heron Drive, McDonald Road, and Harlingview Drive. The maintenance and landscaping continues on all town properties. Preparation for painting the exterior of Robert Cotton Park. Just preparation starting. Repainted the Pride Crosswalk in Town Center. Assisted with assembly and new furniture in the library. Sidewalk inspections were completed, and any trip hazards, I guess they're called toe catchers, were identified and marked for repair. And bylaw inspection, enforcement, and follow-up continues to be busy. Sewer and water component maintenance, such as valve and exercising, straightening valve boxes, raising lower manhole covers, repairing curb stop boxes, hydrant service and repair, flushing is ongoing. Water and sewer inspections, meter installations, and water turn-ons for new development are ongoing. Ongoing inspection and maintenance of water and sewer systems and facilities, and managing ongoing customers and resident inquiries and concerns. During the month of June, there were no sewer or water emergency. There was only one pump out of the East Kepic lift station for repairs. Medicom Atlantic has advised us that they're no longer going to offer service as a after-hours emergency call center for Stratford Utility. We are currently working with Eastlink and Kent Dean to configure a VoIP phone system to act as designated after hours for all emergency-related calls. Medicom has agreed to continue services with the new system. Just want to thank the provincial government. I see there's some paving on Harleyview Drive. Ward 3, I want to go to the Minister of Transportation, Mr. Hudson. And also Clifton Road was done in Ward 1. So Clifton Road was from in behind the Bunbury Rink right down to McDonald Drive. So it was nice to have the pavement done there. So it was a lot of compliments from people. Also during June, we had Jeannie and I, we lined up a little lunch with all the staff, maintenance building, and of course, you dropped in your mayor,
Yeah,
and
thanks.
Jeremy.
That was really nice. Thanks a lot.
To
Yeah.
meet the staff, and we had Taco Boys there from We Sport Local, and we had met the staff, and then talked to all the. It was great to see Joe and Jerry and everybody else. It's just it was the first time I was in that building, and it was great to get up there, and Jason and everybody else. It was great to see them, and just appreciate to thank you for all the hard work they do in the summer, and the students were very gratifying with the food, so they ate it up pretty quick. So it was good. It was good.
You're
Good
setting the
turnout.
bar high for chairing a committee now.
No, but it went over well, and it was good to see everybody. I appreciate all the work, like Jeannie, top down, and Jeremy Crosby, and everybody else, and just a little thank you. And it's just it's nice to see that with everybody there. And they do great work. The parks, everything's so beautiful. The grass is cut. The compliments from residents. They're so appreciative of a town and have a lot of pride. Yeah, the residents.
No, thanks for doing that. Thanks
Yeah.
for inviting me. It's great. Okay.
Any questions? Yeah.
Any comments or questions? Go ahead.
I have one, and I think, well, I already know the answer, and it's been something I've asked about before, in regards to the Stratford Soccer Complex area and the roads there, and if there's been any updates or maintenance done on that area. And the reason I'm going to say this, I drive into that complex at least 4 days a week, and we have more traffic coming in and out of there with the mixed use. Like literally, the fields change users every hour and 15 minutes in some cases. There's kids as young as 4, young drivers, dirt flying, and it's just, I still feel it's really dangerous, and I would ask if there's been any update from the province. I know it's the province that will come and resurface that road, but I also see some fallout in some of the grass areas that people drive over to get to the parking. So I say this out of concern that potentially the bumps could lead to someone being injured. There's a lot of things happening there.
So I was out there a couple of weeks ago, and Jeremy just confirmed, we did have it graded once. When I was there, I could tell it had been done. So the gravel and the potholes. That should have been
I could see
corrected.
that there was moderate work done right out of the gate at the top right, but overall, it's not, it's fairly bumpy. And in the area that I wouldn't say is a roadway, that is a left turn off to the fields, the newer fields, the lower fields, there's washout. And like I said, just with all the variables and the the user groups, I think that we could tidy that up that area up a little bit.
So that, we would have to look into that one, and I'll be honest, I don't drive through there. My focus was on the gravel road and access that the province does grade. So I did know that they had been out to do that, and we've had a lot of rain, so it's something that's going to deteriorate pretty quickly. So we can look into that again, but we'll have to go out and look at the sort of pathways that are developed and see what they need, for sure.
Yeah, and I think like right now, there's like maybe rebarb or something coming out to mark, like we have stakes in the ground for where cars park. Like there's just, I think there's some opportunities to make traffic safer and move more clearly within that area. So, yeah, that's all. I just thought I'd ask, because I know I did mention the road initially.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead, Councillor Jackson.
Thanks, Jeannie. Can I ask, I see there was guardrail put up this week, kind of in front of where the auto repair shop is.
On the Trans-Canada Highway?
On the Trans-Canada Highway.
Yes,
Was
I
there
noticed that too.
any consideration, I guess? I know we had some requests before, like and this is an uneducated opinion here, but with the hundreds of kids that are at the soccer complex, with the probably 2 or 3, and I know that's not on us, but daycares that are close to that road, is there any consideration to a guardrail all the way along, I guess?
I can't really answer that. I don't know that that ask has been put through formally to the province.
Yeah, I was just wondering why it was where it was. Like, I see, it looks like there was someone jammed on the brakes and maybe went off the road there, but
I noticed that as well
Yeah.
before I saw the guide rail. I will say the guide rail was prompted by a property owner in that area.
Okay.
Who requested it and had been speaking with the province.
Okay.
I was a little surprised because I didn't think they were moving that way.
Yeah.
So I was surprised to see it go up.
Okay.
But in terms of extending it the whole length there, we'd have to put that
Yeah.
through and,
yeah, and that would be the province to do that, right?
absolutely, yes.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Jeannie.
Just while you're up there, or maybe it's conveniently that Mr. Crosby seems to have stepped out of the room, so. Yeah, just checking in on some of our applications for funding with respect to various infrastructure projects in the town, and I've mentioned it on a few occasions, maybe not in this chamber necessarily, but the application for funding for active transportation on Rosebank Road, and I'm wondering if there's been any updates or any further discussion on that.
We haven't gotten any reports back on our active transportation funding applications.
Okay.
Anything formal, we did have some, maybe conversation that they're looking at pulling back some of that funding this year. I know, I saw that. But we haven't formally been told that we're not getting anything or anything with regards to that.
Okay,
We're still holding out hope.
all right, well, thank you, yeah.
Any other comments or questions on the infrastructure report? If not, thank you very much, Jeannie and Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Eugene.
Okay, we'll move on then, if that's, that concludes your report,
Yeah,
Deputy Mayor?
that's
Okay.
good, yeah.
Okay, Committee of the Whole, I guess the minutes are here, and I guess we need a motion for approval of those minutes. Is that, I'll just wait till Jeremy enters the room here.
That's the first, isn't it?
Just looking at this agenda item here, Committee of the Whole minutes, they're in the package here. We need a motion for approval of those, do we, Jeremy? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess, first of all, are there any additions, deletions, or changes? Do they reflect our discussions, as everyone recalls?
Maybe not 100%. I didn't think we approved them here. I thought we approved them at the next committee of the whole. Because I will ask for just a couple of changes just in the characterization of some words there. Thanks.
I beg, what did I say?
We conflict with, it's at the committee of the whole that we approved. Yeah. Yes, we approved them at the committee of the whole. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, we approved them at the next meeting of the Committee of the Whole, so we don't need a resolution of council here. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, no problem. All right, they're there for your information only, and we will discuss the changes at any. I just wondered, as a matter of process, is it normal to put them on the public before they're approved at committee of the whole? Okay, all right. Okay, we'll move on then. Sustainability, I'll ask Chair of that committee, Councillor Jill Chandler, to give her a report.
Oops, okay, so we had our last meeting on June 4th. We discussed the water school, had some Think Stratford updates, and Wendy and I have some more work to do in regards to the execution of the strategy to engage the business community. Discussed the residential tree planting program, which year over year is a huge success. Had updates on the town tree maintenance, erosion and sediment control. And then we also had updates on transit from Jeremy. And Wendy discussed the diversity and inclusion subcommittee and legacy anniversary book that we see here, that we've discussed at some of our other meetings. So that's kind of the sustainability portfolio in a nutshell. If anybody has any questions, I'm not sure.
No, I know there's a lot of activity. I know there's a lot of tree planting going on. There's a lot of, there's
A lot of tree planting
well,
going on.
I know there's a lot of discussion about it. There's the applications are now closed for the 50 trees, and
Oh, yes.
so
yeah,
they'll be
they've been-
planting, people will be digging the holes, and they'll be planted.
No, I think that, that's done, and I think the trees are all done. So the bigger initiative is the trees that the town is planting, which are in the thousands, right? Just in regards to,
Yeah, there's approximately 1,000 larger scale trees that are being planted, and they have about half of those in the ground right now.
Okay?
Yeah.
Locations all around the town?
Yeah, the majority are at Fullerton's, but there are some others going in around town as well, but, yeah.
Okay, because I think there are some opportunities to, use them for buffers and that sort of thing, and that's the kind of
Yes.
thing that I
Yeah.
think is
Part of
useful.
it.
Reforestation is certainly what the application, I believe, was for, but CADAF could speak to that better
Okay,
than I
no
could.
problem. That's great.
and I'll say it in this format too, because it did come up at the sustainability meeting, and it has come up in other conversations I've been having, and something I'd like us to consider in the future is that as we continue to have sunny days and hot weather and continue to experience those increasing temperatures, I think it's important that we look through the lens of sun protection and shade in our public assets and, in our sports field, like wherever we can offer it, whether it's through actual infrastructure or through thoughtful tree planting, that people have those opportunities to escape the sun and still enjoy being outdoors. So
I think
something to
that's
consider.
a really good point.
If I might, I agree 100%. And you're seeing some movements in some areas where they're providing, shade, but in the form of throwing some solar panels in and around places. So, you may have a shade shelter, but there's solar panels on top to get the best of both worlds too.
Right.
So, absolutely. And I think we can kill two birds with one stone there sometimes. So I think that's something we always ought to keep in mind when we're looking at planning some of our bigger infrastructure projects.
Yes.
Yeah, good point.
And one last thing was just while we're thinking about the trees, I know it came up in a committee meeting or maybe committee of the whole, if there was an opportunity, if there was some trees that could be used along the highway between the soccer fields and the road there.
Yeah.
I know, forget who was, some wise colleague of mine that brought up the need, must have been Deputy Mayor. But just to think about that. And your worship, it was your worship. Okay, so, but a good opportunity. If we're looking for a place, that technically probably would be reforestation because that was, I'm sure, caught at one time before the soccer fields were there. And I've been around a long time, but I can't remember it now.
Yeah, it'd be a good wildlife corridor too, if you get a good wide buffer there. I think we own some land there, if I'm not mistaken. There was a trail all along there, so I think it would be a good opportunity to really, as you say, to kill two birds with one stone, be able to put the screen off some of the properties there, and as well as give a wildlife corridor. and
My apologies, it was your idea.
No problem.
I just wanted to make sure we didn't lose it.
No, there's no ownership, just good ideas are good ideas. So that's great. Thanks a lot, Councillor. Okay, Any other comments or questions? If not, we'll move on to the transit report.
Okay, and the transit graph is included in your agenda package. On a positive, transit ridership had a significant increase over last month at 315 riders as opposed to 287 the month previously, and that's positive. We could speculate on what impacts the ridership, but we will not. So there it is for you.
Great, thank you. It's good news. Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's nice to see people riding transit and leaving their cars at home.
Yep.
Okay, any other, anything else, Councillor?
Not, we're going to have, like, the negotiations and conversations with the provider continue, so there's no additional updates other than what CEO Crosby has already discussed.
Yeah, it was interesting at the Atlantic Mayor's Congress in St. John. They had electric buses, and they were used for the on-demand part of the transit. And they're about 12 passengers and very comfortable, about $400,000 each, very efficient. They have about 4 hours running time, straight running time, and you know, so it'd be something to be interesting for us to look at in the future if we ever have the opportunity. And they're apparently we're able to get them. They come from Europe, and they're very functional, I guess.
We do have electric mini buses on order, so they will be coming, and then we're going to be able to designate areas for them to be used. So that's a first step in our electrification program. And I just wanted to mention also about, we're talking about the trees along the Trans-Canada Highway. There was a request for a guardrail along there, and they are in the process of installing that all along that section because of safety reasons too. So we are looking at that area, but that's good to see that the provincial government was receptive to that. And Jeannie made the request, and they are putting that in there now. So
Yeah, so I guess if I can, Jeremy, that gets back to my question. So Jeannie, they are going to extend. So I guess that my question was just with the soccer fields, with the daycare, with the rest of the business park there. I know it's nice where they've done the one this week in front of the, I think of the auto shop. I thought they were doing the whole thing, and I was like, wow, they're making really good time, but that was all they were doing. But it would be nice if it was.
my understanding from the public service announcement that they had out that they were extending it the whole way. Now,
Yeah,
whether
it said
that was-
from Reeves to Hollis,
Yeah.
but it was just that small part. So if we can lend any weight as a council or as residents to pushing for that to get from essentially the wet area there all the way down to to meet up with the rest, I'd love for us to do that.
That was our request, and I heard it on the radio several times, so I was impressed
Yeah.
to see that they were receptive to that. But we can double check and
Yeah.
see what's going on with that.
Be
But
nice. Thanks, Jeremy.
That's what they did put out there, so.
And just in regards to your comment on the electric buses and microtransit or on-demand, for several years now, that sort of transit has existed in urban centers, and there's actually models where there's driverless, autonomous micro vans that would move within business parks, et cetera. So they're driverless, they operate at slower speeds, but move within a set route and, yeah, solve problems for those without transit. So yeah, it's pretty cool where we could go eventually as compared to where we are.
The future is now.
The future, imagine that.
I'd like to see I'd like to see electric water taxi from Charlottetown to Stratford.
Well,
There you go.
Solar powered.
Yep.
the,
Yep. Yep. It'll- I won't see it, but it'll happen.
Never know.
Yeah.
we've
might see
had, yes, there is potential. The tides are not always in our favor in the Charlottetown Harbor, unfortunately. But certainly there's been interest and people have expressed that to me, that at some point we can discuss it.
That'll mean we'll have to work with other governments, so that segues into our next
Okay.
agenda item, which is intergovernmental affairs and accountability.
Yes.
If there's no more comments on the transit, I'll ask Councillor Chandler to give her report on intergovernmental affairs and accountability.
Okay. Committee will have the next meeting later this month, and just some updates. The annual resident survey, the results were released publicly in June with a presentation by the consultant to staff and council prior to the release. Highlights, this was the 14th annual survey, 865 participants, and you can see the breakdown of online versus the hard copy mail-ins. Results are statistically weighted by age, dwelling, et cetera, to ensure their accurate representation. And the full report can be found on the town's website. And yeah, we've talked about the surveys before, but we continue to have positive, this is a high number of participants, even though it may not seem it as compared to our overall, but like as far as uptick and response rates, it's positive. The key performance indicators, the questions that we use annually to update and kind of follow the data over a set period of time, are being collected from staff and will be updated on the website in the near future. And as you mentioned, and CAO Crosby, meetings ongoing with provincial MLAs and federal MP, and you guys have already kind of given updates on that. I don't know if you have more to add. And then, of course, with the RCMP that you've discussed as well, those meetings. So that's kind of the update that I have right now.
Okay, thank you very much. Any comments or questions on intergovernmental affairs and accountability?
Just one brief thing, and I probably should have brought it up in the mayor's report or the CAO's report, but just a monthly check-in just to see if we can continue to push for Charlottetown to join the JET team. And I know they may be softening their stance a little bit on that, but I'm hoping that they will, the joint enforcement team.
I did have an opportunity at the Atlantic Mayors Congress to discuss that with both the new CAO, former deputy or former chief of police Brad McConnell, and mayor of Charlottetown Philip Brown, and they explained some of the reasons, and and I mentioned some of the arguments that I've heard on the other side of the ledger. So we're sort of hearing one thing, and it's hard to really discern what exactly the issue is about Charlottetown not joining the joint enforcement team.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they feel that resources are required, that long-term commitment is required, and there's several other reasons that they put forward. And I know that the RCMP have indicated that there's other things involved as well. So I think the discussions are probably going to be ongoing, and I think hopefully it's a negotiating approach, a negotiating strategy, and hopefully they will reach agreement in terms of the provincial government and the city of Charlottetown, because I think it is something that would be beneficial to everybody concerned. But again, they have their reasons, so we have to accept that.
And we do have a positive working relationship with city, with policing, in information exchange, et cetera,
Oh,
here in
yeah. No,
Stratford
it's happening.
and with the town, or
Yeah.
with the city. And I think, I agree that it would be fantastic to have them participate, but continue dialogue, because you can even see from the report tonight, we will have more, with the bridge and the nature of the calls and the policing, it's,
Well, we're already cooperating quite a
Yeah.
bit.
and our resources will continue to be.
E-cameras or,
Yeah.
e-watch and,
Well,
other.
right now, we have a team that we didn't have before. We have the RCMP that we didn't have that here before, east of Charlottetown. So we have that team, there's 6 members, and anything happens in Stratford, we can call upon that way. So we're still ahead of it. We just don't have 2 members from Charlottetown, so we have 6 with, but we're ahead of the game right now with the schools coming forward and so on, with the drug enforcement and all that. So we have, resources that way, so, that's where we're at.
Yeah, no, good question.
Jeff knows that.
Good question, Councillor, thank you. Okay, any other comments or questions on the Intergovernmental Affairs Accountability Report? If not, thank you, Councillor. Now move on to any inquiries by members of council. Anything about the town that anyone would like to inquire about?
I just have one there, and they talked about a planning, and I'd like to bring it up in the next committee of a whole meeting, because it would probably take a half an hour, 45 minutes discussion tonight. Fencing around stormwater management ponds. Oh, I have a big concern over that, and I have a couple of residents in my area that are relative concerns with the building code sort of from the province, so on. I mean, Ronnie knows about it. I guess planning knows about it. I just wanted, get Jeremy to put it on the committee of the whole next meeting and said that, I don't know if we're going to get anywhere tonight with it, but we might be able to be planning in, play the whole, and see where we're going for it. Is there?
Yeah, I recall a discussion about it. I believe it was
Yeah, it was
Planning Committee, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We usually go on the lead of the province with regard to the information there, and also the consultants with regard to the slope. And I know that they can be a little unsightly when they're being constructed, but usually afterwards, when they are grassed in and become, wetland areas, I know a lot of people have their dogs play in those areas, and kids go in and out of them. I would caution us on requiring fencing around every stormwater pond in Stratford. We have to maintain those. They can become unsightly in the future. They could become a hazard as well in the future. So there are certain slopes that do have to be fenced in, but most of them are built to a specification where you can get out of them. I mean, we have pond areas, and Kelly's Pond is one example where we've just dredged it. I couldn't see us putting a fence all the way around that. So I understand where you're coming
I think,
from, but I think we can put it on. We can put it on the agenda for the
Yeah.
next.
If I
meeting.
could, Mr. Crosby and Deputy Mayor,
Yeah.
I think the suggestion is we put it on the agenda for Committee of the Whole for a discussion, and I think that's to respect the residents' concerns about this. I think it deserves airing at our Committee of the Whole meeting. So if we could get that on the agenda, I think we'd have an opportunity for having a good, full discussion about it.
Certainly, sorry, I had to air my concern on
No,
that
no,
as well,
no, no,
because,
no,
I
think-
I feel strongly about this one, so
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
no.
looking forward to the discussion.
Yeah, no problem, thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm not sure who got in here first. Go ahead.
No. If I may, we did have a fairly extensive discussion at the last
Planning.
Planning Committee meeting, and one thing I mentioned there, and I think, others were, maybe I was mistaken, but I think others were in agreement that, yes, we may not need a fence around every one, but we ought to have within our bylaw a set of identified characteristics that might require a fence, might be a certain slope, depth, size, and others that might require whatever from the town or from the developer, and a mechanism to sign off on that to ensure that that's been done appropriately. I think that'll go a long way for councillors to be able to respond to residents, but also staff as well to field inquiries. These are becoming more and more prevalent, and they're going to be very populous around the community in the next 10, 20 years. So we ought to have a very delineated schedule to say, if it's this size, depth, slope, here's what happens.
Yeah.
Whether it's shrubbery, whether it's fencing, that sort of thing. So the reason I bring this up is I think, staff would have the opportunity to do a jurisdictional scan prior to the Committee of the Whole meeting to see perhaps this exists in other communities already. And if not, then it's certainly something I would be pushing to have put in place, because it's like a lot of things, when it's there for staff to flip over and refer a page and refer to, makes it easier for everybody to be able to say, yes, there's one going there, and here's what it'll look like at the end of the day.
Good point,
Fence or
Councillor.
no fence?
We will ask that those points be brought forward at Committee of the Whole, and
Thanks.
we'll have a discussion. Okay?
Jill's got something.
Oh, yeah, I just had one, and I had thought of it when we were discussing the resolution for Falcon, for the development. The common, or one of the common concerns expressed by residents is in regards to parking and cars strewn about, et cetera. And if I take away the development side of it, then the common concern, or often, is that parking issue. So I feel that there is an opportunity, and I know others in other developments that that's been an issue with cars in the street. It's not specific to a certain type of housing, it's something that's happened all over town. and perhaps we've already been proactive in our planning, but I do think as we continue to develop, and I know I've been very mindful of parking allotments and apartments and all that sort of stuff, that we do need to look at how we're going to enforce, because it will continue to be an issue that could be mitigated in future applications when we know simply cars can't park there, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think as we become more urbanized, parking is always something that needs to be regulated, controlled, and really put in appropriate places and make sure everybody's safe. So perhaps the best approach to this might be to have a discussion, I think initially at Safety Services to see, and maybe it's a joint venture with planning to see. I'm not sure. I think it's mostly a rules, parking rules, parking laws, parking bylaws that need to be looked at in certain areas, perhaps, on our main collector roads, for example, and that sort of thing. We may need to look at what other jurisdictions are doing. And as you mentioned, Councillor Dowling, a jurisdictional scan in see what's being done in other municipalities, and at what point. I know that we're not far away from becoming a city. Most cities have parking bylaws, and so I think we need to probably look at that as well.
Yeah.
So perhaps I could ask Councillor Dowling, who chairs Safety Services, to maybe consider putting it on the agenda, and maybe asking staff to do some background research before it goes to Safety Services. Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Any inquiries by members of council about anything around the town? No? Okay, we'll move to other committees. Stratford Seniors Complex. I'll ask Deputy Mayor Gallant to give his report.
Yep. The report's administered in your package there. The committee report is as follows. Annual inspections have been completed. Apartments are in good condition. Infrastructure will do the needed repairs. Tenants have commented that they are very happy with the work the infrastructure is doing on the maintenance of the building and gardens. The railings around the front patio are currently being painted. Contractor was in to fix one of the dryers. New fridge has been ordered for one of the units. Kim and Paulette met with tenants on June 18th to explain the new agreement with CMHC and to get the tenants to fill in new leases and rent calculation forms. Currently reviewing replacement reserve funds to figure out which capital projects can be completed in the current year. And currently, right now, there's 25 people on the waiting list. And that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions?
Just one quick question for Deputy Mayor, for Kim, or for Wendy, I guess. The threshold for qualifying, I guess, for seniors, I know we have a long wait list, but for those, is that indexed, or has that been looked at lately, just with kind of the, I guess, is it looked at periodically just to, sorry, Kim, to just kind of rise with the rising costs and things like that? Because I know incomes have, even for those that are, seniors, their pensions are indexed slightly, so.
Yeah, under the old program, it gets updated once a year.
Okay.
Under the new program, it is a little bit different. So we can set a different threshold than the old one. And we have a year to come up with a new governance policy around to meet the new agreement. So it's something we will be having discussions about.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess the only other thing I'd like to comment on is the fact this hot weather really brings awareness of the importance of having that cooling system in the cooling unit in the common room in the seniors complex. I think it's probably proven its value right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks a lot for getting that done.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? If not, thank you for your report, Deputy Mayor. Thanks, Kim. We'll now move to appointments to the committees. We have a resolution here, and this is for the diversity and inclusion, and that falls Yeah, Councillor Chandler.
I don't do this very often. So this is Resolution CW 008-2025, Committee Members' Appointments, and it is being moved by myself. Yes?
Yeah.
Whereas council has established a number of standing committees and subcommittees in the council procedural bylaw number 47, to advise and assist council in its deliberations, and where the bylaw provides for the appointment of residents and stakeholders by council to provide public input to council in its deliberations, be it resolved that the following residents be appointed to the standing committees and subcommittees for the remainder of a 2-year term ending on November 30th, 2026 as follows. And this is for the Diversity and Inclusion Subcommittee, and I believe it's Sandacon Claire. I apologize if I did not pronounce that right.
Okay, seconder? Oh, sorry, not sure who got there first. Okay, any comments or questions? Good to see people stepping forward to put their names forward and help out the town by serving on these committees. I know diversity and inclusion is a really important committee. I go to as many of those meetings as I can, and I find that a lot of great initiatives, the March 21st is always an event that really means a lot to a lot of people, and there's a number of initiatives that include a diversity and inclusion element to make sure that people feel included and that diversity of our town is reflected. So I think it's good that this individual's put his name forward and is is going to serve the town. Anyway, is there any other comments or questions? If not, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried. Any other appointments? Not at this time? No? Okay. No proclamations. Any other business anyone would like to bring to the floor at this time? If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Okay. We're now adjourned.